people who have children or people that are in removal proceedings, because that can make your removal expedited, meaning they can fasten it. Next thing you know, there you are about to go back home, and your case will, instead of waiting for another year or 2 years to be here, your case could get brought up and then you'll be deported if you lose your case. I can foresee right now that there will be a travel ban, even though that memo has not come out. See, this is what they're doing. He signs executive orders. Then the Department of State sends out what they call policies to us, we the immigration lawyers. This is how we're going to carry out the executive orders. This is what we're going to do. For people who are filing for their family members and friends and things like that. I mean, not friends, but family members and spouses. Again, don't commit any crime, because your application can really, really be stalled if there are crimes committed. Those people who are filing for their family members back home in different countries, we just got to pray that he doesn't touch those, because if he's trying to work with your country, like, for example, during the time Nigerians, I think under his first administration, he had put a ban on people filing for their family members. So, like, for example, if my husband was back home in Nigeria and I filed for him under Trump, those applications got banned from being processed, because Nigeria probably was not complying with some of the deportation requirements. If they go to your embassy and say, we want you to fix travel papers for your people to be deported, sometimes some of these embassies drag their feet slow. Trump said, listen, if they're not going to comply with us and do what we say, then you can deny their people from entering into this country. When Joe Biden took over, Joe Biden did the whole ban, and Nigerians were able to come back here again. Every president that come into office, they put on what they call executive orders. Those executive orders do not have to stay. So, for example, if Trump runs out his 4 years, when the next president come in, they can undo most of these orders, and then they can ban most of these orders. So their executive orders doesn't necessarily have to stick, because they made it, because it's not a law. Executive orders and policies are not laws. Only when they become law, that's when that's when things stick. There's going to be a huge administrative impact on the process of these visas. We just got this morning, a few days ago, that the Board of Immigration Appeals, where the board hears all of the appeals cases from immigration. If they deny your case, I filed for my husband, they deny it, I filed to the board. I lose my immigration case in court, I filed to the board. They have over 23 members. Trump is cutting that down to about 13 or 11 members. When he does that, that's going to be a huge backlog. Even for visa processing, is going to be a huge backlog around the nation for the administrative processing of visa backlogs. There's going to be a delay in issuance of visa. Be prepared for that. So my whole thing is right now, especially people being picked up, people being deported and stuff, know your rights. Some of the rights that you can affect, if someone shows up at your house, knock on your door, maybe you are a citizen or maybe you have a green card, you don't. Let's start off with that. Say I have a green card or I'm a citizen, but my address is on their radar. They show up at my house because they're trying to get to my brother or somebody like that. Because I had exactly that case. They come to my house, and the first thing you want to do is ask them, can you show me your credentials? I want to see your badge, and I want to see that. You can see it through the peephole. Don't open the door if you believe that it's ICE. You look through your peephole, or you have your chain and you look and you see ICE is there. Let me see your badge. And they show you their badge if from the peephole or from the thing. And if they ask what's your name, you can go ahead and say your name. After that, you don't have to tell them anything. If they say we have a warrant, you want to see, do you have a warrant? Even if they don't say they have a warrant, you want to ask them, do you have a warrant? They're not court order warrants from judges, but they're administrative warrants. They have to show you that warrant. You want to verify the name that is on that warrant matches the name of people who stay in the house. I had a scenario where the lady, they were looking for her husband. They got to their house. The man wasn't there. He was at the car somewhere fixing his car. they came and asked, they said, we're looking for Juan. They call another name. And the woman said, oh, there's no Juan that lives here. And then they said, well, who lives here? She said, me and my husband and my children. What's your husband's name? She started telling her husband's name. They're looking for him now, but they didn't have an official warrant for him. So where is he? She said, oh, he's at the car place, blah, blah, blah. She directed them, took them right to her husband. And as soon as they got there, they arrested him. He's from Ghana. They arrested him right there, and he was in proceedings, and we had to fight that case. So you do not have to disclose any information about anybody who is not living in your house, because sometimes they will come and say they're looking for someone else, and they said, do you know so-and-so? Yeah, that's my brother. And then where is he? Or blah, 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 because they probably already went to his house, they went to his job, they don't find him, and now they're trying to see if you know where he is so that they can track them down. So you have a right to remain silent. That's the constitutional right. Some rights in the Constitution does not mean you have to be a citizen for you that right to be applicable to you. You don't have to talk. If you choose to talk, you can give names. Comply with them as much as you can. Provide information. If you are filing, someone's filing for you, or you're filing or you are in proceedings, I will highly say make copies of your receipts. If you have not gotten your papers yet and it's still pending, carry copies of your receipt with you, because you can show them that I have applications pending, before the immigration. Some officers will be sympathetic and let you go. And some of them can still take you in, process you, maybe let you go in there. But the embarrassment and the stress of it is very stressful. So you want to carry copies of your receipt to let them know. I tell people, approval notices. If you haven't received your card, but you have approval notices, carry those approval notices with you. Certainly do not carry, in this time, day and time, do not carry your original documents like your passports, your green cards, your social security cards, especially if you're not lawfully here. If you're not lawfully here, you have a passport from your country, don't carry those passports originally. Your original passport, because if they catch you and they process you, they would take the passport from you, and now they have papers to send you back right away. But if your documents are not with you, they will process you, and you have some opportunity to file to say, I have fear to return back. If they catch you, the first thing you want to tell ICE is, I have fear to return back to my country. By law, by the asylum law, when someone expressed that they have fear to return back, they have to go through a process of credible fear to determine whether that fear is reasonable enough to allow you to have a case before the immigration judge here in this country. So that's something I tell everybody. If they catch you, I have fear to return back to the country. If you have a U.S. passport, still don't carry the original, carry a copy, because as soon as they catch you, once you're from an African country, Asian country, or you're a foreign national, everybody is across the board. They don't know if you're a citizen or not. So you want to have proof of it on you during these times. So at least the tidal wave of this whole thing can pass before you relax yourself. Do not trust that they are going to say, oh, you have an accent. By the time they take you, arrest you, process you and stuff, day or 2-3 days have already passed before they find out you're a citizen to let you go. I've seen cases like that, and it's not fun at all. There is a huge impact of that. Right now, Ghana is over 3,000 people are on the deportation list. They're going for those people who are definitely criminals or have criminal convictions. Now, there was a case called the Laken-Riley Act, which says that before an immigration court, if you get picked up for committing a crime, then you get placed in proceedings. You have an opportunity to file for bond. Now, if you get convicted or you were picked up for theft crimes, fraud crimes, domestic violence, and all those things, you automatically get put on what they call the Laken-Riley, and classifies Laken-Riley. And then when you get classified, you're not even eligible for bond. And that's a very scary thing, because sometimes you can stay about 3, 4 months, 5 months in detention while your case is being processed. At the end of the day, those are some of the little things you can do to protect yourselves. Stay away from large crowds, large gatherings, because when they come They don't come and ask you, are you a citizen? They just gather everybody and then begin to do their process of eliminations. Then, if you don't want to get caught up and embarrassed, do not put yourself in large crowds, large gatherings, especially if you are not documented. You can work some things out with your jobs and things like that, because again, the raids are serious. They are working feverishly with the local officers, police officers. So a common thing like driving without license, running a red light, and you don't have a license, can land you in immigration court or in deportation if you don't have documentations. Those people that do have, like I said, cases pending before the immigration court or before USCIS, which is like just the typical filing, you still have to take precaution, because if my husband filed for me, I'm not in immigration court, but he filed for me, and I went and committed a crime, I can almost bet, because they are trying to tell those local courts, like the local courts, they're trying to let them work with them. So they will say, if she comes here for maybe a domestic violence, after the case is over, let us know, we will come pick her up. That's literally what they're trying to do with these people. So what I want to do now, because I have 10 more minutes on my time before I have to sort of switch, 10 or so minutes. I don't know if anybody had questions so far. I know this thing can be very confusing, very boring. Let me share the testimony before I kind of open it up for like one or two questions that maybe are present, or things that are happening, or the moderator could probably tell me, what are you seeing in your communities, so that I can address that issue, right? Because everybody's cases are different. And I'm sure you have our information to call for further talk with your specific case. Because everything I say, some of them may not apply to you. I really highly encourage prayer, fasting and prayer, especially as a group, because I had a client who was being deported back to after Sierra Leone. And on Thursday, the family contacted me. I was going to do what they call a motion to reopen his case, because he had a deportation, but his daughter was filing for him for an I-130 so that he can adjust his status. But he had a deportation. So he was meeting with his deportation officer on Thursday, and the family had hired me. And I said, okay, Monday I would file his motion to reopen. When he went to the officer, they arrested him, put him in detention. Sunday, I get a call after church and says, oh, he is, they're taking him to New York to deport him. Remember, now it's Sunday. Who will I call? I have no one to call. There's no agencies that are open. I cannot get in touch with the officers. There's just absolutely nothing. And so they took him to the airport. His family said, okay, we will go. They were very upset at me. And that's one of the things that got me annoyed. They were very upset, thinking I didn't do anything. And so the family said, well, we would drive to New York so that we can take him a bag of small clothes so that when he enters, he'll have something. So they get to New York, and they were able to not see him, because at this point you can't see them face to face, but they can see the officer and hand the officer his clothes and stuff. And so I get on my belly in my kitchen. I was so upset. I got on my belly and I laid on the floor and I said, Lord, if you are God that has called me into this profession, you have used my hand for so many people. I need 24 hours. I don't know what it is you need to do, but I need you to do something. And so I left it at that, because there was nothing. I don't know what to tell God to do, but I needed 24 hours because it was a Sunday afternoon. And so the niece called me within 30 minutes or 40 minutes later. She called me. She said, oh, the plane is leaving now. The plane started to taxi down the runway. And then 5 minutes after that, she was like, oh, she called me back. She was like, I don't know what's going on, but the plane is reversing to come back. And I can remember that was the same time I was praying to God to give me 24 hours. And so she called me back. I was like, well, go find out what's going on. So she calls me back and said, listen, I don't know what happened, but they've taken everybody off the plane because they said the plane has a mechanical issue. But I knew that it was the hand of the divine intervention of God. It wasn't a mechanical issue, because before any plane leaves, they have checked the engines. They have checked every mechanics. They have checked the fuel level, and they know the plane is ready for takeoff. But so God stopped the plane and the plane comes back. They take my client off and everybody's off the plane. But I still needed 24 hours. Monday morning, I get in a car and I drive to Baltimore, because that's where the court was sitting, to file this paper I need to file. Now, here it is. I need the judge to sign this motion and grant it, not just sign it. She could deny it if she wanted to. I need her to grant it. And I need the deportation officer to know that it is granted before they take them back, because they're going to take them back on Monday. And so I get there and I beg the clerk. I said, please, I know the judge is sitting on the bench. She's doing her morning docket, which is from 8 to 12. When she gets off that bench, she has to go to lunch and then take her second docket. So there's a lot of things that is still that's a barrier in the way. So when God is operating in his divinity, everything must align up and everybody must act in accordance to his will. But you have to stay steadfast. And so the clerk says, don't worry, I will get this motion before the judge. The judge did not have to look at that motion that particular day, because they have specific days that they're not in court on the bench. But then at 1:30, I get a call back again from his family that says they have taken them back to the airport and they now are on the airplane about to leave. My client is back on the airplane about to leave. And I said, God, this is your next judge, it's your move. Because at this point, I'm not doing anything. I'm just telling him, what do you want me to do right now? It's your move. Right in the nick of time, like the clerk calls me from the court and said, oh my God, you wouldn't believe the judge signed your motion granting it to reopen this man's case. Now the case is reopened, meaning he cannot go back. Now you can't take him back because I've reopened. He no longer has deportation. But the issue is, how do I let his deportation officer know? I called the office, he's not there. Obviously, he's at the airport trying to get this man out of here. So I'm asking God, what is it now that we need to do? By the time I finish the question, my phone is ringing. The phone rings and then it's my client on the phone. He says to me, hi. And I'm like, where are you? Where are you calling me? He said, I'm on the plane. I said, well, how are you able to use a phone? Because they cannot use a private phone at this point. He said something told me to just call you. So I asked my deportation officer to let me use his cell phone. I said, you got to be kidding me. It's nothing but the divine intervention once again. And he gives me the phone. I said, put your officer on the phone. I tell the officer that this guy, his motion was granted and he needs to get off that plane. He goes out to check on the computer system because they have to put it in the system. And I asked the clerk when she granted it, don't wait till the end of the day, put that information in the system. And when he checked, sure enough, it was there. So they took my one client off the plane and deported the rest of the other people. I'm saying this to say that there have been so many miraculous things God has done. If you find yourself in any situation, not just deportation, you got to believe that there is indeed a an omnipotency side of God, that when you call on him, he will make anything possible. I don't know now if you were reserving. Well, Mr. Taranka will be coming on very soon. So I guess questions can be reserved for him. And I have a few more minutes. But with the immigration things that are happening, especially out of the country with consular processing, where you filing for your family members and things like that, it's going to get sticky. So make sure you keep all your documents. One of my experiences, especially with Ghanaians, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You guys don't like to keep documents. You don't remember facts. You don't remember informations. You got to remember informations and keep documents. Keep a file with everything that you have, because these people have everything on you. When someone stops you, you got to know how to be able to say, I came in this country, this place, this is when I enter, blah, 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 blah. When you go for your interviews, you also got to know your facts and your information. How did you come into this country? Because sometimes we have these visitor visas that we applied for before, and those people who do the visas for you at the internet cafe or whatever, they put all this information about you that you don't know, that you were married, that before you had children, they come up with all this stuff and you don't know. I had several cases like that, where today the people could not even file for citizenship because on their previous visitor visa, they had that he was married. So they're asking him for his wife, his ex-wife. He doesn't know the name because he did not ask them for documents so that he can keep it and know that fact. Know your fact, know your history, know how you got into this country, because they have it. Whether you like it or not, they have it. I'm going to stop here and I don't know, and pass it back to you, and check to see if Mrs. Taranka is available. I don't know if it's time for some questions before I leave. I got a few more minutes, but I defer my time back to the moderator. It was an opportunity, a great opportunity to share with you and to just encourage you to have hope. Have hope and continue to pray. This too will pass. I believe strongly that it will pass. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen. What do we say to her?
Amen. I have a question.
Excuse me. You have a question?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Tell us your name and where you are calling from.
This is Elder Dan from Toronto, Canada.
Yeah.
And we thank Lawyer Kamah for the brief presentation on what is happening and what we should know as our right. She mentioned about some of the things that we can do to safeguard ourselves. And if I heard it right, one was we should try as much as possible to stay away from large crowds, if I got it right. And can I itemize large crowds to be like funeral, birthday, church meetings, or something like that? And if you can further enhance, what can we do if we are to stay away? When should we get involved, or when should we not get involved on the point of staying away from large crowds?
Absolutely. Great questions. I mean, certainly birthdays, funerals, anything that needs to happen. I'm speaking more especially about those people who are undocumented. Maybe they might have some sympathy at funerals, but they have not hesitated to enter churches, to arrest people in churches. They have not hesitated, especially our gatherings like parties. They will come, and most oftentimes they will gather you, arrest you, embarrass you before they ask you what, if you are legal or illegal. So it's just those people who need to protect themselves, because they know that in a large crowd, 9 times out of 10, there are people in there who may not be documented. So that's why they target the larger crowds. That's why they target places like the African markets or places like that. So my thing is, if it's your family member, of course, I'm not going to say don't show up, but use wisdom in the places that you go, because you don't want to find yourself in a situation. It's any kind of large crowds, because we've been seeing it around the nation.
Thank you so much. I have a follow-up question.
Sure.
On another point that you mentioned, that it's not wise or the best way to carry documentation like passport or something like that when you are around. How do you protect yourself, or when you encounter a situation like that? What will be the reasonable or the best document to prove that probably I have a green card or I'm a citizen, if you are not carrying some of these along with you?
Well, what I said was don't carry the originals.
The original.
You can carry copies of it. Hold on, Mr. Taranka is talking to Mr. Taranka. I have to go now because I do have prayer at 9. Carry copies. If you are a legal permanent resident, certainly carry a copy of the card. I'm not saying don't carry something to show that you have receipts. If your case is pending approval notices, you haven't received the card, carry those things. Just carry the copies, because these people may be apt to take your original documents. If you take your original cards from you, and sometimes it's hard to get them back. If you're not you don't have documents where you're unlawfully here, certainly don't carry your original passport with you. No, absolutely not, because then they keep it. It's in their possession. They can process you and you can go back. But I highly urge you, if you do have some documents to show you are lawfully here or legally here, carry copies of that, so that you can be able to show on the spot that, hey, I'm a citizen. Copy of your passport, I'm a citizen. I just said don't carry your originals.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Elder Dan.
Yes,
Elder Dan.
ma'am. Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
I think she wants to leave before the husband comes. So
That's
express our thanks and appreciation to her for us.
all right. Okay. On behalf of our people on this platform, we are so privileged and we are so enlightened by the few minutes that you have spent with us, walking us through this wonderful and this powerful way of what is going on and how we can understand the system, what to do. I personally will say that we won't have words enough to thank you, but we will continue to pray that our great God will help you to bless many people in your profession and in your ministry. We'll continue to remember you, and we will get in touch from time to time now that we have seen how you are helping most of our people. More blessings we ask for you, for our good Lord to lead you. Thank you. And once again, thank you.
Amen. I receive it. God bless you all. Thank you so much.
We will talk later on, okay?
Okay, thank you.
We'll talk later on.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay.
Welcome, sir.
Good evening. How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
I apologize. I'm a little bit late.
We understand. Don't worry too much. Okay, my audience. Now we have lawyer Toranka on the floor. So I will leave the floor for him to also tell us what he has.
Oh, okay. Well, good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Happy Sunday.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know where she left, but I guess if anybody who has any questions or they want to ask anything, I can just be able to answer. At this point in time, I mean, even though things are a little bit different, but they're not too much different from 2017 when the president was president then, and they're all still the same. And the only thing, this is more aggressive and it's moving at a faster pace. So if you survive 2017, you still survive today. I know some people, they're worried about going to churches or events, other things. I have some of my clients, they call me. It's a little bit, yeah, immigration ICE can come to a church or other events, but we're also a country of law. So it takes a little bit, they have to go through so much to get approval to go into a church and to go into other events that people may have. And also just to, again, I don't know what has been covered, but usually an ICE officer will have a warrant of a person, no warrant for them to come into your house or to go into certain places. If they want to do that, then they have to get a judge, and sometimes they will come with local police officers. And it's always good that you will ask, for them to show your warrants of your arrest. And if they not allow, the warrant itself will specifically state your name and your address, and make sure your date of birth, everything is correct. And you can ask them always to look at it. Don't open the door. You can talk to them through a window or crack, a peeping hole. You can do that. And because an ICE officer cannot just come to your house unless if you let them in. We still follow the Constitution. When, if an ICE officer actually stop you and they ask you just, the law says you can, just give your name. If anything else, really, you can always tell them you wish to remain silent or you want to speak to a lawyer. That's just the American way, and that's the way we observe things. Once you know those things, you can identify, you can say certain things, but don't give them anything that shows that you're not an American citizen or you're legally here in the United States. If you give something that has a foreign passport or foreign document, then they will use that to expedite your removal. Even the executive orders they pass, basically, it only affects mostly people that have criminal record for now, and people that also been here less than 2 years. And depending the way also you enter, they can definitely just take you, and if they can ask your embassy, because anytime they arrest any foreigner, they have to really report to the embassy. And if they don't have travel documents for you, they might ask the embassy to produce travel documents. Once they produce them, then they will just take you away. So usually those are the things that people just have to be careful a little bit, and just to know how things in these days are operating. And I know some of us may have a removal order. Some people, they have deportation order or exclusion order back then, and they never just left. Still, if ICE, even they come in contact with you, they might try to enforce the order, but most times, they will afford you the opportunity. Maybe you can be bonded out. If you commit a crime, I don't know if most of you, probably have heard about it, and the Laken-Riley Act, that one, even if they just charge you, before it used to be if you're convicted, but now if they charge you, they can come after you. I had a case yesterday, and also day before yesterday. We went to court. We actually asked the judge to continue the case till 2026. They did. And we left. But the guy did not tell us that he has just gotten a DUI about 2 weeks ago. And so we do not know. He went back home, and they waited for him early in the morning when he's going to work, and they grabbed him. So now his mandatory is there. He wanted to pay us to do a bond hearing, and I'm telling him it's going to be a waste of time and waste of your money because you've committed that crime. They keep you before we can get you out. But now it's a little bit difficult to do that. So those are just the few things that, people just to, know about. Life is still the same. The Constitution still works. You can still apply for, papers. I know some people, they're scared to travel. It's not that bad too much, like the way sometimes social media be saying things. I don't go on social media that much, but people will come and tell me, they say, I had this, I had that. Yeah, the policies are a little bit twisted, but there's a way you can navigate around them. So as long as you obey the law, and there are certain things, they're still processing papers. As a matter of fact, they're processing papers faster now than before. I don't want to keep going. There are different ways you can get your documents, but maybe people might have specific questions that I don't want to eat all the time, to go back if you're in immigration court, or if you come to this country. Sometimes people think unless if you get married for you to get documents. There are different ways you can get documents here in the United States. As long as some people, they've overstayed their visas. Some people, they here unlawfully. Some people, the married do not work out. There's way you can get your still your papers here legally. The key is don't commit crimes, and if some people, they'll be engaged in marriage fraud. Also, there are certain things that you have to do and to prove that the marriage that you married, your intention, because they look at your individual intention, and they're not looking at the time that you're getting married. What was your intention at the time? It's a subjective thing. What were you thinking? It's not the next person. Was your intention to establish a life with this person together? So there is a way you can fight it around. I'm going to stop. And if anybody has any questions or anything in particular they want me to address, I will do my best to just be able to, let you know.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. The floor is open. If there's any question you can ask, please feel free to ask the question either in our local language or in English. Please tell us your name and where you are calling from, please. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Please, I have a question. When my sister was talking, she said there was a time that a lady was in the house with the case, the husband wasn't home. They just got there, they asked for the husband wasn't in, and that the lady accompanied them to where the husband, meanwhile the husband was somewhere fixing his car. But the lady took them to where the husband was, and they arrested him. Is it a good advice, good idea to do that or no?
Absolutely not. I mean, you're not there to do the government officers' jobs. And I'm aware about that case. It was a long time ago. So it happens that way. But the time, sometimes because we don't have the knowledge or the experience, so that's why I have to thank, to have a forum like this. Sometimes just people to hear what to do. First of all, when they come, they ask for any person that you know. If you know the person, that's fine. If you want to answer them, that's fine. But you're not obligated to answer or to even take, the person to immigration. To accompany them and show them in a place where this person is or where this person is not. That's not your job. That's their job. They can figure that out. Trust me, it's the government. They come to us sometimes. They say, "Hey, your client is coming this way, blah blah." So they talk. We ask them. I can do anything for you. And sometimes the ones that will have good talks. So what we do is we ask them, "Hey, you have to assure me this person is going to come back, just going to give them paperwork." Then they will say yes. And once they give me that, then that way I will, tell the person, "Let's go, I'll go with them." But besides that, I'm not there to do their job, just like you're not there to do any job. They come here, they ask, this person don't live there. If they don't live there, even if they're there, you don't have to say, like I said before, ICE only has a warrant of a person to take a person, not for them to come inside your house, not for them to come inside your car. Now, if they see you walking around, they come ask you, they say you're the person and they have a warrant for your arrest because you've been deported or you wanted for something for criminal acts, they can take you with them. But besides that, no.
My worry is even the person was her husband. And she took them to where the husband was, and they arrested him. Right. It's so sad to do that. So sad. Well, I don't know. So please advise us.
Well, when you don't know, I am sorry that I interrupt. When you don't know, you don't know. And the person at the time do not know. They just come because ICE will come with plain clothes. And this person was somebody that is known in the community. And probably thought maybe it's a business or maybe something that they wanted to talk to this person, right? So probably that's why when you don't know, you don't know. And they come, they talk to you. Even when we take people, not in court, because in court we're fighting, but sometimes they take people for an interview and the officer is so nice, smiling to them and saying things and they feel relaxed. They want to be saying certain things. So we have to tell them, don't say nothing. What they ask you, that's all you have to answer, because whenever you say something, these people, you think they're your friends, but they're not your friends. So they come, they talk to you nicely. They tend to get your soft side, and then they will ask you to do them favors. And they'll say, "Oh, just want to talk to this person really quick." Of course, if they come, they said, I'm a nice officer, I wanted to see this person. You're not going to take them there. So that's the whole thing. So you're not there to do their job. So you just tell them, "Hey, I don't know where this person is. It's not here right now." That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anybody can talk. Not necessarily you mention your name.
Yeah, Ma'am, I have a question.
Yeah. talk.
Yeah, lawyer, thank you for this program. I have a question. By law, how long then the ICE can detain a person? Is it in the law for how long? Yes.
So, that's a good question. ICE can pick you up and they might hold you, up to probably 6 months, but sometimes it might go longer because if your case is in court and they keep scheduling it, so that's a different story. But if they just hold you, for instance, you have what they call a removal order, or commonly people you say deportation order. So you have this order there and you're sitting there and they cannot send you home because sometimes your country do not want to take you and they can get you to a third safe country where you can stay. They can keep you up to 6 months. Then after that, then you can file in federal court. If they cannot take you, they have to let you go. They call it mandamus. That's why you will file in court. In federal court, and the judge will force them whether they have to take you or they order them to release you. So in general, they can hold you up to 6 months and try. And sometimes you go beyond that if you're in court because the case go back and forth. And maybe your lawyer might go, they're not ready. They said, can we have so-and-so dates? And the government will also ask, or the judge, it might be sick. So it might go longer than that. But once your case is finished, it's wrap up or they hold you, they have to try to send you. After 6 months, that's when you can, find other means so they can let you.
Thank you. My second question, you said, you have to take like a copy of your document. So far as you take you have your document, if you show it to them, they know the country you're coming from. So they don't use the copy of the document to send you back to your country.
Well, before ICE can send anybody out of the United States, they do need travel documents or your passport or travel documents from the embassy. So usually, just like when you're coming here to the United States, you needed a visa because the visa itself is just for you to travel to be able to board the plane. That's it. That's the only benefit it has. So for ICE also to send you back to your home country or to any country, they would then need a travel document, or if you have your passport, the passport is valid, they can use that. I guess what they were trying to say that for you to have your documents, I'm thinking probably, I'm just guessing, I was not when the conversation started. Maybe some people they have approval, or they file something. So maybe ICE come here, they were raiding around here, and you have that. You probably can show them and they can look at it and say, hey, you are okay, so you don't have any problem, so we're not going to take you. Or they can take you and process you. The norm is you're not supposed to show them any document to show that you're a foreigner, you're not from this country. If you have your passport, you don't show them your passports. You don't show them anything that identify which country that you came from, because like I said, anytime somebody that is not an American is arrested, they have to notify the embassy, each embassy. It doesn't matter which country he came from. And the embassy then will then decide whether this person, maybe some embassies provide lawyers, like the Spanish countries, they do that. European countries do that. I don't know, Africans, they don't do that much. They will look for lawyers and they pay them a reduced fee to help their citizen. And some of them, they delay to issue documents. They know that the lawyer is going to fight for you. Or some of them, they're ready, like Spanish countries, they will send, their plane to pick their, citizens. So the reality is, your documents really, when they say showing document, maybe receipts or approvals that you receive from immigration, not things that identify you and identify that, for instance, you're Nigerian, you're Ghanaian, you're Cameroonian, and those things, or you're an European. So those are documents that you don't just produce unless maybe you think you have everything, then you don't have to worry, then you can show them.
Thank you.
No problem, sir.
Hello, yeah. Do we have more questions?
Yeah, I
okay,
have a question.
All right. Go ahead.
My question is, you were saying there are so many ways we can get our papers, not only marriage. Can you please enlighten us the ways that we can get it without marriage? Thank you.
Yeah. So, well, some people, right? It also depends. Some people, when they came here, people that haven't overstayed their visas, or you came here as a visitor, and maybe as a student, you can always change your status to, a different thing. You probably, let's say you came here as a visitor, then you're here for a couple months and you decide, hey, I want to, go to school and do something. You can switch to a student visa in F1. And you learn whatever you learn in, and still they give you'll be able to work, sometimes 20 hours or sometimes 40 hours, outside the school campus. You can switch to that. That can give you, when you finish, they'll give you an employment visa because you do the practical training first. Then maybe the job where you work in, they like you and they might hire you. Then from there, you'll be able to get your green card itself. But the key on those things, you have to really still be in status. You cannot be here illegally. Some people, they come. Some people, they specialize maybe in the science field or other things as they're doing. They're doing their master's or doing their PhD also when they come here. And they can actually file as they call it a EB2, visa. So they can file for that. You do the national interest waiver showing that whatever you're doing, whatever you're studying, or the research that you're doing will benefit the United States or even your country. And you can get, your papers through that. You can get your green card through that. Some people, they also come, they will file for maybe asylum. For instance, if you're from Ghana, most people, they come, maybe they're bisexual because of the law that passed, even though, it has not been signed. Based on that, you can get your green card also. Some people, they're business people, like you may have your business in, abroad. As long as it's been running for 2 years, you can come to the United States and open a business here. It's called an L, L1. And so you can get through that. From there, you'll be able to get green card. You and your family will be able to get green card. Some of the African countries, they're not, trade treaties with, the United States, but some other countries, they are, like Pakistan, we do a lot of, e-visa from Pakistan because, they have a trade treaties. They can come here and get their green cards. There are so many ways you can get your green card. If you have money, people that have money, I do a lot of African cases. They come, they invest 800,000 them and their, children, wives, or husbands, they get their visas over here. They get their green cards over here. And meanwhile, their money is still making profit for them. So there are so many ways that you can get your green card or legal status in the United States. But the key is you don't want to overstay your visa. So when people that come here and they might give them 6 months on their I-94, by the time that 6 months is coming up, it's always good to extend it. So you always stay in status. You can do that. And some people, like churches, like, programs like this can also bring people. They call it religious visa. So you can get religious visa, you can get green card from there too. Some people are church workers, so there are so many ways you can get, your papers over here. Let's talk about marriage, because that's why everybody always is the default one. People go into, they come, they meet people, they like them, they get married. Sometimes the marriage doesn't work. But if you are abused emotionally or physically, you can get your green card on your own, as long as you show that you enter the marriage in good faith at that time. You're a person of good moral character, you haven't committed too much crimes or anything, and you are abused by that person. It doesn't mean physical, they don't have to beat you up. Sometimes it just be emotional or control. You can get your papers through that. So, so it doesn't mean like you have to always marry or stay in the marriage for you to get papers in the United States. There is a lot of ways. So, and when you run into that situation, somebody that run into that situation, just look for any lawyer that you trust, and they can be able to help you.
Thank you. Lawyer, who has a question, please?
I have a question, please.
Yeah, please go ahead and ask.
All right, my name is Francis Raphael, lawyer. I'm coming from. I'm speaking from New York. I have 3 questions. The first one is about. All right. The first one is, we thank you, though. We thank you for the good work. The first one is about authorization. I have authorization to work. I can still stay here, right? That's the first one. Or I don't have authorization to work. How can I get authorization? Answer that for me first.
Okay. When you have, work authorization, nowadays, it depends on the type of, papers you're filing. Nowadays, they give you for 5 years. So legally, you can stay here, unless you commit a crime, a serious crime. That's when they put you back in immigration court, try to deport you. But besides that, you can stay here legally, you can do things legally, you will not have any problem. If your second or your sub question is, if you don't have work authorization, how can you get work authorization? Unless, for instance, you file something, like some of the applications, the visa categories I was explaining, most of them gives you work authorization anyway. If you married, also will give you work authorization. Or if you married, the marriage doesn't work, you file the right papers. So once you file a green card application, you will get work authorization. If you come here as a student, you will have. If you come here to work, you will get work authorization. If people that file for asylum, you just have to wait for 150 days, which of course is 5 months. Then you can file for work authorization. Even if you, for asylum, you have to file it within 1 year when you're here, when you enter the United States. But sometimes people will file it way after that. You have to prove that you still qualify for asylum, maybe that your country condition change or your circumstances change. Or if not, you can file for what they call a withholding. That means they cannot just send you out of this country, but they can, hold you here because it's the United States policy that they're not going to send you to a country they're going to be tortured. So there are different ways you can get work authorization legally, as long as you file the paperwork. And you just have to avoid it for asylum, for you not to file a claim that is frivolous, that is just a make-up, thing. And so if they find out, then you bar, they stop you from getting other papers, that's all.
Thank you. So I have to see a lawyer for that, right?
Yeah, so you can always, see a lawyer in New York, or if you want, you can give us a call and we'll be able to help you with immigration. We'll practice immigration, all the 50 states and outside the United States. So you can call us. We'll be able to talk with you one-on-one and go more detail and be able to see how best we can help you.
But we'll take your numbers when we finish. The second question is, Mexico and Colombia, they turned down the planes which were bringing the people back home. I don't know. Is that practicable at all? Like, The Mexicans who were here illegally, they were taking them back home, and then those from Colombia, they said, no, we are not going to allow these planes to land here. Send them back. It's practicable, right? You can do that.
I mean, they can do that because those are international laws, international wars. They have to permit a plane to get into their country. Sometimes the United States, they can take people somewhere else. Anywhere, the United States can refuse a flight, plane to enter, their airspace. It's the same thing. So it doesn't really matter. So that's why you always need permission to go into another person's country. So there's nothing wrong with that. The only thing is, I don't know if you know about this, but when Trump was president back then, there are some African countries that were delaying. They don't want to take, people when they try to send them, and he put sanction on them. So Trump can turn around and say, okay, Mexico, you don't want to take my people. I'm going to sanction you guys. You're not going to get these benefits. You're not going to enjoy this. You're not going to enjoy that. That's the only thing he can do to get back to them. But besides that, nothing really too much he can do. That's their airspace, and that's their land. They can say you can come. They can say, no, you cannot come.
Thank you. My last question is, if you have no lawyer at the time they ask the ICE, confront you, and you say, I want to remain silent, so I want to talk to my lawyer. You have no lawyer, so what do? Even though you may get a chance to go free at the time, what do? I have no lawyer. They said that they want to talk to me. I said, no, I want to talk to you. I want to talk to my lawyer. If I don't have any lawyer, what do I do?
Well, yeah, I understand. And the key is, for you to say once you voice it clearly, you speak it out clearly, that I wish to remain silent. That's actually the key. So even if you say, you have a lawyer, that's just one face of it. The main thing is you wish to remain silent, because then you don't want to be answering questions. The ICE officers, they have a discretion. They can say, okay, well, we're going to detain you. But if they detain you, they do have to contact your embassy. That's one. They can provide you a telephone call for you to reach out to someone, and people will know. And of course, even if you don't call anyone, once somebody knows, like somebody know me, and they said Ishmael Turonka, and they type my information, a lawyer can type it, and they know exactly where you are, because anytime I detain someone, they have to create data for that. And so all the information is there. They know that this person is in this place or this person is in that place. So you can always get a lawyer later. You'll get the opportunity. And sometimes not just, like lawyers like us, we do also have people that cannot afford to pay sometimes, but you have organizations that get funding from the government or from other non-profit organization or rich people that gives them money to help people also. So you have a lot of legal, help, legal aid or organization out there, the Catholic Charity and other organization, Aruda, they're all there to help. And they even go to detention center, talk to people individually. So you just say that you wish to remain silent. I don't know if Africans, they have it, but most of our Spanish clients, even when they come to our office, they have a red card that that has all the rights, or in case I stop them, and it's written in Spanish, so they know exactly. They can just say, word for word, and that's it. And the ICE officers are supposed to stop, because we're a nation of laws anyway.
Thank you so much.
Hello?
I have a question.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Joseph. Thank you for such educative presentation, lawyer. We do appreciate it. I have a question. My wife is a citizen, and I'm a citizen from European countries, one of them. I traveled here. It seems she hasn't filed for me yet, but I know it's going to take like maybe a couple months. It could be maybe 3 months or so before she started putting in the document for me. In case she started and like you see, when I came in, they gave me a month or so to stay for a visit. If it passes, is it going to be a problem that maybe my term has been expired and I'm still in the country, though I'm a legal citizen in Europe? Is it going to be a problem? Thank you.
Okay. We typically do not answer specific questions like that, and I apologize. It's just because it's a forum. So usually we'll ask the person to give us a call later. But let me just give you a general scenario without addressing your question. Maybe within that, your question will be answered. When Europeans, you came in with a visa waiver program. So with the visa waiver program, when you come here, you're already married, but you have the 90-day rule that even though they gave you 1 month, you can still wait for the 90 days to file anything. And it's a case-by-case basis. Some people, they go beyond the 90 days. Anyway, I have European citizens that they've been here for 2-3 years, and we still file for them to get their green card. So in a nutshell, when you come with the visa waiver program, there are certain things you cannot do, like to extend your stay, like, if they gave you 1 month, you come in here. I don't really know the reason why, because usually it's 90 days or so. You do the 90 days and you can leave and come back anytime you want. So, but the 1 month, is expiring. You can, they can still file for you, and just get an attorney to just walk you through the process.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
And I do appreciate that.
Anytime, sir.
Is there more questions?
Yeah, my second question, lawyer. What does that mean, undocumented? Because what I know, sometimes they say they try to go on there. People have a green card, or people have a work authorization. People have that. So what does that mean, undocumented? The second question: can deported African to North American countries?
Okay, so undocumented don't mean like, it's just like the way the word itself is. They're just trying to be politically correct. It just means that, you here illegally, you don't have any papers. That's all really. You probably enter here illegally, or you enter here legally, your papers all just expired. You don't have anything. And nothing for you to say that you can stay in this country legally. That's all. The second question is, can I take you anywhere? As long as that country, the third country, if they want to take you to, let's say they want to take you to Honduras or El Salvador, and El Salvador agree to take you, they can do that. But it's very, because now, they have to provide, it's not that easy, because there are certain logistics that they have to go through. They have to produce travel documents for you. They have to get like a visa for you to go there, because that's not where you came from. But to answer your question, yes, they can send you to Mexico, and they can send you to another African country, as long as that third country is willing to accept you. That's all what it is. But they don't do that often, though. Even people that they're supposed to do that for, they hardly do that. Yeah. Most times they try to send you back to your country.
Hello? Any more questions? Our time is almost up. So if any more questions? Mama, you have question?
Please, I think there's a question in the chat.
Question in the chat? Hey, then read it for us, please.
She wants to know. Yeah, she wants to know the state of DACA holders.
Say it again. Lawyer, please, did you hear her?
The fate of DACA holders.
The who?
DACA.
Oh, the DACA. Oh,
Yes.
right now for DACA, I mean, it's still the same. If you're a DACA holder, they're not taking, new applications, but you can still stay in that status as long as you don't commit any crime. So far as I know, and I might be wrong because things change every day, and I haven't checked my email, but as far as Monday, I haven't received anything that says that, they will tamper with DACA program or they canceling it or anything. So it's still okay. If you're DACA, you have work authorization or travel document. I know people scared to travel now. You're still okay. Just like for people, I don't know if you guys know about TPS, the temporary protected status. They all still remain the same. Like country specific that they withdrawing, they say we're canceling, those things they will tell you. But as far as DACA is still, everything's still the same. And let me just say this. I know sometimes, the Trump administration, they scared people, but at some point, they're gonna soften, things gonna slow down. Yeah, even Trump, with the last time he was president, he gave, Liberian amnesty, they can become citizens and things like that. So sometimes he changes around. That's how a lot of Liberians get their green cards and citizenship right away and cancel everything, even if they have a deportation order, they cancel that. Was Trump did that. So it might soften up. So just take precautions.
Can I come in, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, talk.
Yeah, thank you. Lawyer, as you said, we are praying and hoping that this deportation will turn into amnesty anyway.
Amen.
My question is, can you tell us something about somebody who don't have I-94? How can you go forward for your papers?
Well, there are different ways.
Okay. There was a way before 9/11, but after 9/11, there was a ban. And up to this time, about 24 years, it's still hanging. So how can you go forward for it if you don't have I-94? Thank you.
Okay. There are a few ways that you go around it. It depends the person's situation. Some people, they came into the United States a while ago and they crossed through the border or however they came. The law is, and it's still the law today, and we file those things all the time. And the people get their green cards. If you're waved through, they call it wave through. Some people, they came through Canada or the border, different places. And back then, or sometimes, they will inspect the driver or maybe a few people in the car, and the officer will wave you. They said, you guys can go. That's an inspection. So even if you don't have an I-94 card, you can still get your green card here when you file the papers, if you qualify to file papers. So it's a wave through. That's one way. The second thing is some people, they came here with somebody else passports or different information. They entered the United States and they came to the airport. They inspect them, even though that's not their name, and they let them in. When that happens, if you can get that information, unfortunately, most times, some people, they don't even remember the name again. They don't know anything about it. They throw away that document. But if you remember the name, even if you don't have the document, a lawyer can request that particular, your entry, your I-94, your entry. And when you got that, then you would do a waiver. They call it 601 waiver, 601 waiver for, misrepresentation or fraud. So you can do the waiver for that. Through that, you will get your papers. Another way is some people have come here, a little bit while ago, and they might have filed for an application, whether the visa application went through or not. If you file the application before either employment or a visa, relationship, either marriage or your dad or your brother or anybody else that filed for you, the application don't have to be approved, but it has to be filed before April 30th, 2001. And if that happens, then they have what they call you grandfathered in. When Bill Clinton was in office, that's when they passed that. You pay $1,000 fine. It doesn't matter how you came, if you came through the border or you came with somebody else's papers and things like that. So you qualify, and the number is a 245I. So you can still get your papers through that. You don't have to do anything. The last thing that you can happen to you if you don't have your I-94 and you have no way to locate that, you will then file, and this is when Obama was around. You will then file all the papers here. Then you do what they call a consular processing, the National Visa Center, for you to go to the embassy. And you do what they call a 601A waiver. When you do that, after they approve everything here, and everything is okay, you will then leave. It's just a formality because they don't want you to stay here and get your green card. So it's just like Canada, when they will let you go out, you come back in, they officially welcome you. So it's the same, it's almost like similar to Canada policy. You then go to your country maybe for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, then you will come back with the green card papers. So that's how you can get your papers here. And of course, if it's an asylum, even if you don't have an I-94, you can still get your papers here. You just have to do, sometimes you have to do a waiver, sometimes you don't. It's called a 602 waiver. They're all into the 6, right? And if you've been in this country for 10 years and you have American citizen children or husband and wife or parent, and your case would be much better if, God forbid, but if they have some little bit either medical issues or you have kids that are young that, to say that if you live from this country, those American citizen people, either they're going to suffer, the standard is so high, not just ordinary hardship, but they call it exceptional hardship, unusual hardship. And if they were to come back, go back with you, accompanying you to your home country, the school system, the hospital and everything. Some African countries, you have to do cash and carry, even there's no medical insurance and things like that. So, but that application, they call it cancellation of removal. You can only file it when you're in court. So when you're in court in front of a judge, the judge will look at it, and for humanitarian reasons, and if you don't commit any serious crime, you'll get your green card through that, through the cancellation of removal. So those are all the ways. Sorry, it took long, but those are all the ways you can get your green card here without, you having an I-94 or proof of entry or proof of you getting a visa coming here.
Okay, the thing is, the Bill Clinton's one paying $1,000 as a penalty was the easiest way. But after 9/11, they canceled it. And up to this time, so many years ago, nobody has saw it. Why?
Well, the $1,000, right, to pay, it's still there. They haven't canceled that one yet. As a matter of fact, we filed one yesterday. You still just pay the $1,000. It's still there. It's not canceled. But the problem that people usually face, maybe that's why people think it's canceled, you have to show proof that they filed for your visa, back then before April 30th, 2001. Some people didn't get here till 2002 or after April 2001. So they don't qualify for that. But once you qualify for that, as far as it is for now, you can still file for that.
Thank you, though.
No problem, ma'am.
Oh,
Okay.
I think,
I have one more question.
okay, then I think we'll
All
make
right, Lawyer, somebody test me, do you think in time like this, if you have a court appointment, the person can go alone or supposed to go by a lawyer?
And the best thing is you can go with a lawyer. I know sometimes what ICE will do, and this is just for people that either have deportation or have criminal record, right? ICE will usually wait for you at the courthouse. When you finish, everything, then when you're about to leave, that's when you go outside, that's when they pick you up. But this is for people that have criminal record or people that have been deported. Or some people, they ask them to report to ICE. They have that order of supervision, then they never showed up. That's the only real times. But besides that, you can go. I don't think anything will happen to you. But if you can afford an attorney, I know lawyers are very expensive. And the best bet is always go with your lawyer anyway. But if you don't have any criminal record, you don't have any deportation, I don't think something should be worried. If you can't afford a lawyer yet and you just want to go get some more time, you can go by yourself. Eventually, you're going to need a lawyer anyway to represent you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Okay, thank you. Please,
lawyer, one kind of theatre, the old kind, but we be a near refuge. One can't say. So the person be someone, met me the micro cassa bisa. Not where ye are no mammy, not just a bisa. One son can be to be a na. Be a question, be an answer, me a question, but a different cassa, the battle catch, but 1 minute nothing, and to us, with us.
me pacho, dianom. Yedi ka se bia woni ana sabre na maso a wo asem bisa bia pese wo do krom ye krom kasa ebisa wo bisa obi de beko ni krom kasa na ma na se poto kasa mu ama no enti be pa cho wo question bisa no fabra na ye say time no kopa so no do na ebon enti me pa cho wa obi wo question bisa on famra why. Your silence means no question, no more. We thank you all. Yeah, thank you very much. At this time, I will call Edda Dan. Edda Dan. Edda, if you are talking, please, you have unmuted yourself, so please unmute and. Hello, Edda Dan. Edda, unmute yourself and come and show appreciation to lawyer for us. Time has beat Edda. Okay, at this I would like to ask if Pastor Bexon is on the line. Sarah, is Pastor Bexon on the line?
Yes, Pastor Bexon is on the line.
Okay, sir, Pastor.
I hear you clearly.
You to extend our thanks to lawyer for us.
Okay.
Before you give the closing prayer.
Dear ones, I think we are very much privileged to have Pastor Mrs. Kamah. Fortunately, I wasn't at the beginning of the program, but I know that Madam is a legal person, a professional in law, and then also she is a pastor. And I overheard her saying that at 9 o'clock she was entering into prayer with the church or the church members. And then our dear father, husband, dear brother, Lawyer Ishmael Torenka, if I have pronounced the name very well. Words cannot express what you have done for us this evening. You have really shown much professionalism in the law firm, especially in the area of immigration. The questions, how you answered, brought it to our level. Yes, we say thank you for your experience and knowledge. At this time, shall we pray for Pastor Mrs. Kamah and our dear brother, the husband, Ishmael? Shall we pray? Kind and loving Father, so sweet you are. This evening, we are blessed from the knowledge and experience of Pastor and Mrs. or Mr. and Mrs. Torenka. They are endowed with rich wisdom in the field of law, particularly immigration, laws concerning what is happening in this country. A lot of fears and scared. We are scared by what is happening day in, day out in both our churches, in our families, our events that we attend, parties, our movement, traveling with train, buses. But this evening, with the enlightenment given us through your manservant and your lady, we are blessed. Our fears are calmed. Divine, we need you to guide us as you move out, go about our daily work. And may you lead us securing the documents that would warrant us to stay and work, to study, and to live both with our parents and other relatives. Where there's danger, where deportation is lurking at the door of any of us, work a miracle and save us. Work protection, wall against us, around us, so that we be kept safe in your might. As you go in and come out, may your spirit lead us through. Move us away from crimes or anything that is fraud, that our stay here will be well kept. Our mothers, our sisters, our brothers, our church members that are working in homes, working in other corporations, where now firing, many of them are being fired. We pray that, Lord, guide and protect us all. Throughout our stay here, throughout our work with the various companies and firms, may we be successful. Bless your son and bless your daughter and the family and the work they are doing. May it go on, progress and develop into great success. Bless us all, for we prayed in the worthy name of our Lord Savior Jesus Christ.